Gente, sou Anne Freitas, IFBB Pro, estou aqui no evento do meeting. I'm here with the most important woman and head judge of the IFBB Pro. She is the head judge. Yes. Sandy, I was talking to you before about the importance of muscle contests coming to our country and opening the whole world. We are really, really happy to receive all of you here. And I'm sure everyone is thanking what happened, and as the sport is growing a lot now.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think that's it. I said the one thing since I've joined the NPC, and it's almost 40 years ago now. It's always been I can't say this enough, but it's always been Jim. He's always been an athlete in his heart. And so when he saw that some things like overseas we're not good for the athletes, you know what I mean? That's why the NPC decided to go internationally, because we had athletes turning pro in our in the United States, and we were finding out that it was so difficult for athletes in other countries, and we want the sport to be inclusive.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons that we have so many different divisions. From bodybuilding to figure to bikini to women's physique. So it's for women and weight resistance and putting muscle on. It makes you more healthy. It makes you, like we talked earlier, it makes you younger. Absolutely, and it also makes you a role model for everyone around you.
And the most important thing, it gives you a motive to live.
Oh yeah, it will give you
a reason to wake up every day.
Yes, and it also gives you confidence in yourself as a person. Because I think one of the things is, to be part of this sport, you have to have so much focus and dedication. And the thing is, that expands into the rest of your life.
24-hour dedication.
Yes, but it also then expands into other things, because you learn to focus. And you learn that it takes hard work to build anything.
Yeah, you get disciplined, you learn to be disciplined, and it's contagious. Everyone around you observes you and wants to know a bit and wants to get the way you are, and that's really, really what makes me really happy today. It's not of course, a title is something that it has no price.
Yes.
But to see someone that looks at you as a role model, as an example of determination, and
but that's what I see, especially with the women. The women, because I do judge the women more obviously than I may do both, but I judge the women more. It's amazing, the role model, because you're role model not only to the children, your family around you, but to everybody. If you're in the workforce, you're role models to everybody in the workforce, and people do, because they start to see like the changes in your body and what got you there, and even if they only take little bits of it. You know what I mean? To incorporate it into their own life, you're affecting people that you don't even know that you're affecting.
No, not at all. Sometimes I read in my IG, and you don't know how much you helped me, but I don't even know
that person. But
that's the real happiness.
Oh,
for me,
absolutely, absolutely.
And it makes me think everything I did was rewarding and worth it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just that little extra validation that people are aware of the things that you've accomplished.
Because there's going to be a time that I'm going to stop competing, and what is going to be there for me is my history.
Yes.
What I built, the people that sees me as a strength symbol, right? And let's talk about our show tomorrow. Mm-hmm. What do you expect? We have lots of. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough.
I don't think I have judged an easy bikini show in at least 5 or 8 years.
Yeah.
The quality of our athletes is increasing by
more and more.
Oh my God, by leaps and bounds. It really is. But for both ends, I see so many younger girls, which is really nice, especially when I see girls from the U.S., because the U.S. has got a high incidence of obesity, high incidence of type 2 diabetes, and so it's nice to see the 18 to 20-year-olds coming in. But our biggest growing, and I think this is worldwide, is the Masters. The quality of the Masters competitors is it's off the charts.
Yes, because it has more maturity and everything, and more discipline and everything.
Yep, absolutely. And they also now have time for themselves. The children are grown. They're a little bit more, comfortable with their workplace and stuff, so they can devote some time to themselves. But yes, the quality, especially, I mean, all the divisions the quality has grown, but especially bikini. Bikini has become so hard. It's like a minuscule is separating one athlete from the other.
You can have, of course, you have gotta have one champion, but like.
But they're so close.
Yeah,
so
it could
close.
be either of them that day.
Yes, it could. And that's what sometimes I think athletes forget, that it's that day on stage, you know what I mean?
It's your day.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so many factors that go into it. I mean, obviously you have to have a beautiful physique, okay? You have to have muscle maturity.
That's what I was going to ask you, because sometimes people think it's about muscularity, but it's not. I always see you saying in your seminars that you don't want to see muscle, you want to see the package.
Yes, you do want to see the package. You have to have the foundation. I think that's one thing, though, sometimes that gets lost in bikini, because we're still a weight. I mean, we're a physique organization, so you have to have a little bit of muscle underneath to give. Because really, for women, muscle is the only thing that's going to change the actual look of your structure. You can do all the cardio that you want, and you're just going to be a smaller package of your original shape. But when you put muscle on, you actually can change the real look of your physique. You know what I mean? And so you have to have that foundation, but we just don't want to see it. We want you to have, one of the things that I think we're starting to see, especially worldwide, is we're seeing a lot of bikini competitors come in really lean. And if you look at who our standard is, and you look at Angelica, Lorelei, Issa, Jennifer Dory, I'm just going from the Olympia, none of them are ripped.
No, that's what I wanted to hear from you.
Because
people get confused about it.
Well, I think what happens is sometimes you go to a show and maybe the quality, the leaner girls are just they're just that day they're the best.
Yeah.
And you're just judging on that day. You're not judging on what could be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so I think sometimes people, and also too, the biggest thing these days is now the photos you're seeing is not the look of the girls on stage.
Not at all.
But people's. I tell this to athletes all the time. You never want to get photo ready. If you're getting ready by a photo, you're going to be either too big or too lean for whatever division you're looking at. But I think that's what happens in bikini, and especially with women. I think we go through our whole life trying to be in better shape. So I think we get caught up in the conditioning
because we're never satisfied.
No, well,
we always want more and more.
Yes.
We can change here, we can change there. But the thing is that I always tell our athletes, because we have our great team, don't look at the photos.
No,
it's one less problem in your head. One less problem.
It's all about you. You get your body in its best shape, and whatever happens on stage happens. But like I said, a lot of times, especially now with all the different types of cameras and stuff, I'm finding out, talking to people that are more into the photography, different photographers can filter the photos and stuff, so they can clean them up.
Everything. They want to make anything.
Yes, and so they make them look a lot better than maybe the athletes looked on stage.
That's not the real thing.
That's not what we're seeing from a judging standpoint. You know what I mean? Because somebody will say to me, "Oh, well, look at how lean somebody looked." I'm like, that's the photo. They didn't look that lean on stage.
But I always tell our athletes, Sandy does not like too shredded.
No, not.
She doesn't like. I always say your name, because you're used to all this, and I always give you this example. Sandy doesn't like.
No. Well, and it's not even so much even what
too conditioned.
No, and we don't. As an organization, we've decided we don't want.
We want to see healthy.
Yes, that's
healthy.
It. Yes,
but athletic and healthy.
And like I said, so if you look, I always tell people, you look at Angelica and you look at Lorelei. You don't see on stage. You don't see hamstring separation on them. Yet I'm seeing that in younger, the regional shows, at the smaller shows. I'm seeing bikini athletes come in with ripped, separated quads, and I know I've said this before, so I'm not saying it out of turn, but even 2 years ago at the Olympia, Jennifer Ronzetti came in a little bit too lean, and that's what caused her the loss to Angelica, because we don't want to see that separation in the quads and stuff. And like I said, you'll see it sometimes in photos, but we don't. It's not on stage. It's the photos make you look a little bit. Generally, the photos will make you look a little bit bigger and tighter.
Yeah, but the stage, it has to be your day, because you can do everything the same, and it's never the same.
Well, it's not. It's
your day.
Yes,
it's the day for you to be a champion.
Yep.
And I have one more question for you. You know, here in Brazil we have wellness.
Yes.
And it's really, really popular. And it's a physique that you can go to work. You know, it's the same as bikini. It's easy to deal with. You know, I want to know your opinion about it, and if you think someday it will be at the pro shows.
Well, you know what? It's funny that you're asking that, only because, like I always tell the athletes are what drives our organization. When we started Men's Physique, that whole first year, the national office kept getting emails from male athletes talking about, isn't there something that men could be like the size of Men's Physique but have legs too, because they don't want to be as big as bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Different generations want a different look for themselves. But it was all that constant asking from different athletes that's what created Class and Physique. You know what I mean? And I think you're starting to see that now with wellness. Athletes are demanding that there is a wellness category.
Because it's not as bikini, because for us it's easier because we have the structure.
Well, but you know what?
But I train so many girls who live in the USA. I train online, and I have like 15 girls at least who are wellness that live in the USA, but they can't compete there in the NPC because there isn't any show.
Well, like I said, don't take that, because I think you're going to see that change coming, because like I said, I can see the demand from the athletes, and once the athletes start to demand it, the organization starts to look at it. You know what I mean? Because we want to be inclusive. And the thing is with wellness,
you said inclusive.
You do.
And if you want more people in the organization.
Yes, and that's what this is about. It's always been about that. But generally women are not born with wide shoulders and narrow hips, because genetically we're supposed to be wider hips for childbearing.
It's physics.
Exactly. So that is to me that's what wellness is. It's women with a little bit smaller upper bodies, because it's easier for most women to put on some muscle in their legs and their glutes.
Yeah, but it's estrogen. Yeah. It's our nature.
That's what I'm saying. That is more of a natural process for women. So I think give it. And I'm not talking years, but you give it a little bit of time, and I definitely think you're going to start seeing that.
Do you like it? Do you like to see? Do you like the way they present? Do you like?
You know what? I will tell you, in all honesty, last year I came here for the first muscle contest show in Brazil.
I met you.
Yes. And I came in, and they were checking in these women, and I looked, and I said to Tamer, I said, I want those legs.
Yeah.
And it was all your wellness competitors. I did. I was like, oh my God.
Because legs are nice to look at. Everyone that has
they're beautiful.
More volume legs is nice to look at. Everyone likes.
Oh, absolutely. And then I think when I came back then in October for the Amateur Olympia, and we saw that division was even bigger. The quality was unbelievable.
No, it's so popular. I think that if you guys start putting more and more shows, all the girls from IFBB Amateur, they'll
But you know what though? It's nice
go because they're crazy about this opportunity.
But it's really nice though too to hear that you train women in the States.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes some of us in the States, we think it's more prevalent, like in the Latin cultures. You know what I mean? I know but also too in Greece and Spain, we see a lot of women with that more of that structure. So it's nice to hear that you say.
And they come to me like, Anne, I'm getting in contact to you because here in the United States we don't have coaches who are familiarized with this with wellness division, and they're lost in what to do.
And that's really good to hear, because that's another thing that I'm seriously that I will take back to Jim and to our trustees, because that's. For us, we have a board of trustees that we take information back that we hear from athletes. They bring it from letters and emails that they've received, and we talk about it as an organization. What changes do we think that we should make that will make the organization better?
Yeah,
and I think
it's a nice physique for you to live daily.
Yes.
You don't have to go hard. You don't have to because some divisions we know you have to suffer.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The bodybuilding is terrible.
Yes.
Terrible in a good way. When I used to compete, it was 24 hours strict.
Yeah.
For me to be better, get better and better. So now I live much better.
Mm-hmm.
dropping division, and I thank God, that this happened. In the beginning, I didn't want to, but then I'm happy today,
Yeah.
And
even when I said to you, first thing I said to you is, you know what I mean? Your physique looks so amazing. You know what I mean? It does. It looks amazing. You look healthy.
Yeah. No, I like that.
And that's what this is. I mean, really, that's what this was always about.
Yeah, you're right. And just one more last question, so I know you're tired.
Oh.
We noticed that in the last Ohio competition, Arnold, Ohio, the 5 girls won the bikini. The first
Is that the Arnold's Classic?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
We're using blue bikinis.
Oh.
Is that a coincidence?
Yes.
Or that has
totally
to do with the package?
It just has to do with them. I tell bikini girls what you want to do for suit color, and again, it's a general kind of rule, but you want to catch, because there's so, like I said, the quality's so good, you want to walk out and draw the judges. So I always think more of a contrast between your own skin tone,
and the
color of the suit gives you that more contrast. No, that was just those 5 girls. I didn't even have to go back and look.
Yeah, but we noticed that it was like all blue.
Because lots of times I'll go to shows and they'll be all red.
Yeah,
because
red.
Yes,
because there are some colors that you're not making any mistakes.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I tell girls. Because I also tell it already. There's financially, athletes invest a lot of money to compete in this sport.
Yeah, but here in Brazil, the girls wear one bikini in each show because it's not expensive to make it.
Oh,
so each show they want to make a new one.
Oh, see, well that's fine, but in the U.S. it's much more expensive to buy a suit.
I know.
And I tell them buy one suit.
It's like more expensive than a phone.
Yes, it is.
I was like, and then we were telling them, go with the same color, because also the judges, if you went well in one show with that color, go with that color again, because you will be remembered.
Yeah, and you don't need a new color all the time. I tell that to girls all the time. I always say you want to get, first and foremost, you want to get a suit that's cut well for your body.
Yeah.
And then second, I would look at color so you have more of a contrast. And as long as that suit, a judge doesn't say to you that suit it's not right. Yeah, it doesn't fit. It's not helping your physique. I would wear it till your physique changes and you can no longer wear it.
Yeah, but if you notice, from now on, here when you come to Brazil, the girls will be with different bikinis each time because it's not expensive.
Well, and see, and that's it. I mean,
it's like 1,000 reais. It would be like
that's nothing.
$300.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Full of stones. You know.
Now the only thing though, I do tell bikini girls, because we're seeing this in the States. I think they think the more stones that are on it, the better. Sometimes with the way because sometimes the way the lighting is, that if your stones all reflect the light, if you have too many, it can actually make it like an aura around you that could actually kind of distort, like doesn't let your conditioning show through real good. So I always tell them, be very careful. The most stones you have, don't necessarily make it.
It's not the best necessarily.
No, because I've said this to girls all the time. Somebody's walked out and I went, oh my God, that is like the most beautiful suit I've ever seen, and then put them in my 4th call out, because it's still physique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we get caught up sometimes in the accessories too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sandy, it's so nice to have you here in Brazil.
Oh my God, I've loved coming.
Thanks a lot for giving me this interview. Wish to see you more and more here. If you need anything from us, from our team, let us know.
No.
And you know what? I always try to find you online. I was like, where is Sandy?
Oh, I'll give
you have any IG?
I don't have an IG. I do.
You got to.
No, I do. No, I do emails only because, to be honest with you, I have judged the last 12 weeks in a row. I have done over 300 emails.
I can't imagine that.
And so for me to like keep going to different social, because I have people texting me now pictures, emailing me stuff, and I don't get me wrong, I love talking to athletes. I love giving critiques back. But the only reason I don't do the IG is because it's just one more.
It's gonna be crazy.
Well, and it's just one more avenue that I have, a social media area that I have to keep checking. You know what I mean?
We miss you there, Sandy. We miss you there. You gotta do this.
Oh, I'm actually thinking about it. I am.
Please.
Only because you know what? Because then you
can talk to them through IG.
Well, see, in the
Change.
but see, in the States, more people email me. But I think internationally,
Much
I realize
more.
it's more IG.
Much more. It's gonna be much more. people, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be
But
more
you know-
work, but
But you know, the same thing that you said to me about, like, you know, like if there's anything, same thing too. If you see, you know, like you say, oh, I think if you change like this process, or if you do this different, it'll be better for the athlete. Seriously, always drop me a note. Always email me something. I'm serious. I will take it back. But
Yeah,
don't
because
give up on
sometimes-
don't give up on wellness, because we're talking. So it's
I like
coming,
that. So
hon. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah. But it's nice to hear you.
I would be one if I could, but I know I can't.
No, but it's but also too, it's nice to hear though that you say that girls from the States are coming
Yeah,
to you.
and when, I
That's
think
what's
Tamer
nice.
said something about it online. He said, don't. It's not going to be long. Wait for
That's
us.
what- yeah.
And they were like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, no,
when do you think it's going to
yeah,
happen?
I don't want to say anything more, but yes,
You know?
don't give up. It's going to be there.
Thank you.